Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. For a long time, I thought that to change my life, I needed something huge, maybe a prestigious degree, powerful connections, or even a miracle. But over time, I discovered that true power lies in something much simpler: one single hour with purpose. It's not about how much time you have, but how you choose to use it. When I understood this, everything began to shift. Personal transformation, productivity, and self-discipline are not born from future promises. They are born from the hour you have right now, right in front of you. If you're waiting for the right moment, stop now. It never arrives. And as I like to say, if not now, when? If not me, who? The secret isn't in the available time, but in the level of intention you place into that hour. During the early days of Alibaba, we had no money, no technology, and no support. But we used every hour with total focus on goal setting and personal development. That discipline allowed us to grow while others were still dreaming. 1 hour of focused attention is worth more than days of distraction. While everyone else was looking outward, I learned to look inward. That single daily hour became an invisible ritual where I started building my mental resilience, expanding my growth mindset, and feeding my self-belief. It was there, in the silence of my solitary practice, that I was writing my future. No audience, no applause, just persistence. You might ask, but what can I really do in just 1 hour? The answer is everything that truly matters. Read a chapter from a great book like Atomic Habits by James Clear. Write down ideas for a new project. Learn something new from a YouTube lecture. The world may keep shouting out there, but here, in this 1 hour, lies your freedom. It is in this small block of time that self-improvement begins to bloom. The difference between those who win and those who quit isn't talent. It's the conscious use of this sacred hour. While most run from silence, the achiever turns this hour into a temple of creation. That's how it all started for me, with 1 hour of decision. And what if this hour was the beginning of everything for you too? Every morning, I saw a choice: hand over the first hour of my day to chaos or use it to build clarity. So many people wake up and dive straight into messages, emails, or social media. It's like giving your mind away before you've even had a chance to meet yourself. I learned that the first hour sets the rhythm for everything that follows. It's not just about productivity tips. It's about owning your mind before the world does. And if you don't train your mind in that first hour, the world will gladly do it for you. Ask yourself this: what do I want to create today? Who do I want to be? These are not just motivational questions. They are triggers that shape your self-awareness, direct your goal setting, and define your personal growth journey. When I started my mornings with intention, be it through a short meditation, planning my goals, or reflecting in silence, I found my day followed with energy and precision. I wasn't reacting, I was leading. Taking control of that first hour is like holding the steering wheel of your life. If you let it go, everything else can spiral. But when you grip it, even lightly, you guide your direction. That's the essence of self-discipline. Your energy, your emotions, your decisions, they all align. As I've often said, the difference between a reactive life and a purposeful life begins with your first thought of the day. That is where emotional intelligence meets strategy. One powerful practice I recommend is starting the day tech-free. No screens, no notifications, just you and your thoughts. Use that time to stretch, journal, or even read something meaningful like The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. These small rituals reinforce your success mindset and build up your mental resilience. You don't need hours. Just 60 minutes of clarity can shift the momentum of an entire week. And when that hour ends, you'll notice something magical. The world hasn't changed, but you have. Your energy feels different, your focus sharpens, your confidence grows. That's the real victory of the first hour. It multiplies throughout the rest of your day. So what happens when you protect and elevate this hour every morning? I used to think that productivity meant doing more, but I learned the hard way that real productivity means protecting your time like it's sacred. One focused hour of personal development can be stolen in seconds by distractions, and distractions rarely look dangerous. They wear the mask of just one quick text, just one video, or just one email. But each of those small interruptions is like trading gold for crumbs. If you don't guard that hour, someone else will take it from you without asking. Protecting your hour isn't about being rude or rigid. It's about being clear. You're not rejecting others, you're choosing yourself. And when you consistently make that choice, people around you begin to respect it. They see that you treat your time with self-discipline, and they follow. As I often say, time is life. If you neglect your golden hour, you neglect yourself. You teach the world how to treat you by how you treat your own minutes. I always block my growth hour like an important meeting, because it was. I didn't pick up the phone. I didn't let notifications dictate my focus. I stayed with my thoughts, my tasks, my progress. That hour became my sanctuary for self-improvement, my quiet factory of ideas and clarity. Think of it like planting seeds. You can't interrupt a seed every 5 minutes and expect a tree. You need focus. You need patience. Even now, I keep that discipline. 1 hour, no negotiations. Because once you feel the power of that mental focus, you'll crave it like oxygen. And it's not about being perfect every day. It's about having the courage to return to that hour, even after a bad day. You don't have to be harsh. You just have to be firm. When you protect your hour, you protect your future. So now the question is, what would your life look like if you made that hour untouchable? How much could you build if nobody could steal that time? Not even you. Because that's what it means to respect your own destiny. And if that sounds like too much, ask yourself, what's the real cost of not doing it? There was a time when I worked endlessly, chasing every opportunity, saying yes to everything. I thought energy alone would bring success. But I learned that self-discipline without direction is like running on a treadmill. You move a lot, but go nowhere. Before jumping into your hour of work or learning, pause and ask, where am I going? That moment of reflection turns chaos into clarity. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. In the early days of Alibaba, I often reminded myself and my team, don't get busy just to feel busy. Let's get aligned first. And to do that, we started each session by asking, what is the goal today? Why does it matter? These questions sharpen your self-awareness and help connect your productivity to your greater purpose. Even 3 minutes of intentional direction can turn an average hour into a breakthrough moment. Direction is like the compass for your personal growth. You don't need a map of every step, just a clear sense of north. And sometimes that direction will come from mistakes. That's okay. As long as you're steering with intention, you'll keep improving. I often say, it's not about how much energy you spend, it's about where you apply it. Without direction, you could be sprinting toward the wrong mountain. Start your focused hour with a simple plan. Write down your goal. Keep it visible. Ask yourself, what do I want to learn? What do I want to improve? What's the value of this hour? This process helps develop your growth mindset and solidifies your goal-setting habits. Think of it like tuning an instrument before a concert. Get it right, and everything that follows will be music. So many people are exhausted not because they do too much, but because they lack clear direction. When you give your hour a purpose, you give your energy a path, and that's when your life transformation begins, not in motion, but in meaning. What would happen if every action in your hour was aligned with a bigger vision? In my life, I realized that the greatest return on investment isn't in stocks, real estate, or business. It's in learning. Every hour I spent learning something valuable became a step toward a future no one could take from me. And you don't need expensive schools or miracle courses. Just 1 hour of continuous learning per day can shift your entire identity. That's how you build real self-belief, by feeding your mind deliberately every single day. I used to read biographies of people who changed the world. I listened to talks, studied failures, and wrote down insights. That 1 hour wasn't just learning, it was transformation. And the most beautiful part? No one can take away what you've learned. It becomes part of your lens, your strength, your toolbox for life. I often tell people, if you don't know where to start, just read. Start with books like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Then do it again tomorrow. Learning changes your choices. It sharpens your decisions. It builds your emotional intelligence and expands your ability to navigate any challenge. That hour became my daily meeting with greatness, not with others, but with a better version of myself. Whether it was a podcast, a documentary, or 10 pages of a book, it was my fuel. Self-improvement isn't a luxury. It's a survival skill in today's fast-moving world. And don't forget, the world doesn't reward what you know. It rewards what you apply. But knowledge is where application begins. Every powerful idea started as a seed in someone's mind. The more you feed your own, the more you prepare for the opportunities that haven't even arrived yet. That's what gives you the edge. Growth mindset and curiosity stacked over time. You don't need more hours in a day. You just need one sacred hour to learn every single day. The compound effect is real. A year from now, you'll look back and barely recognize your old self. And the best part? It all starts today. Just you, your mind, and the decision to grow. So what happens when learning becomes a daily ritual instead of a rare event? I used to think that knowing something was enough, but I learned that knowledge without action is like owning a gym and never exercising. Real transformation happens when you take what you've learned and practice it, even imperfectly. 1 hour of doing is more powerful than 10 hours of reading. That's how you turn personal development into progress and self-improvement into strength. I often tell entrepreneurs, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. In other words, don't keep waiting for the perfect conditions. Practice with what you have now. Apply the principle. Make the call. Try the skill. Action creates clarity. And yes, sometimes you'll stumble. But every stumble teaches you more than 100 lectures ever could. That's how resilience is built. In the beginning, when I was building Alibaba, I didn't wait to become an expert in e-commerce. We learned by doing, we launched, failed, adjusted, and tried again. That's the rhythm of success habits. Practice isn't just about repetition. It's about courage. It's about showing up, even when you're uncertain, because the more you act, the more you believe in yourself. Think of practice as your bridge from theory to reality. You've read the book. Now write your plan. You watch the tutorial. Now start the project. Each act of practice strengthens your self-discipline and your belief that yes, you are becoming better. And when you keep showing up, it stops being practice. It becomes who you are. So don't just store ideas, live them. Because the moment you move from knowing to doing, you activate your personal growth. You evolve. And with that evolution, your world starts to shift, quietly at first, then powerfully. What could your next hour look like if you chose to practice instead of just plan? In my journey, I found that doing wasn't enough. You have to pause and look back, not to regret, but to refine. Reflection is where ordinary effort becomes extraordinary wisdom. After every focused hour, I would ask myself, what did I learn? What could I do better? That habit of reflection became the secret weapon of my self-awareness and daily improvement. Without it, you're just repeating the same hour over and over again. People often overlook how powerful reflection is. They rush to the next task without extracting the lesson from the one they just finished. But like a plane making small adjustments midair, we must constantly correct our course. That's how you evolve from action taker to strategist. That's how self-discipline becomes self-mastery. In a fast world, those who reflect move ahead faster than those who just hustle. Even in the most chaotic days at Alibaba, I would take 5 minutes to think, what went well and what could go better? That's how we grew, not just by effort, but by understanding effort. I wasn't trying to be perfect. I was trying to be better, consistently. As I often say, those who learn fast, advance fast. It's not about speed. It's about speed with insight. You don't need a complex system. A simple notebook, a short voice memo, a question before bed. These small rituals turn everyday experiences into personal growth. When you treat your hour like an experiment and yourself like a student of your own life, you unlock deep emotional intelligence. You stop reacting and start evolving. So reflect, refine, and return. Because greatness doesn't come from giant leaps. It comes from small adjustments made again and again. And the more you refine, the more your path becomes clear. So if you spent 1 hour today growing, how much more powerful could that hour become tomorrow? There was a time I worked endlessly, believing that hustle alone would build success. But then I realized something critical. A tired body creates a clouded mind. Without physical energy, even the brightest ideas fade. I often say, when you're poor, if you have a dream, you never feel poor. But dreams need a vessel, a strong, energized body to become reality. Success and health are not separate, they are partners. I began dedicating 1 hour a day to movement. Not extreme workouts, just intentional care, stretching, walking, breathing. These simple acts brought clarity, resilience, and balance. That hour became my mental reset, my fuel tank, my secret edge. If you want more mental resilience, start with your physical health. A strong body doesn't just carry you, it elevates you. It's easy to ignore the body when your goals are digital and mental. But every entrepreneur, leader, or creator I admire respects their health. They know that self-discipline in nutrition, sleep, and movement reflects in sharper decisions and better time management. You don't need a gym membership to start. Just a daily walk in nature, a short yoga session, or even 10 deep breaths can transform your focus. I've seen brilliant minds burn out because they treated their body like an afterthought. And the cost of neglect always comes later, when energy drops, motivation fades, and burnout hits. As I like to say, the discipline of health weighs grams. The regret of neglect weighs tons. Don't wait for a warning signal. Invest early and consistently in your personal development through health. So now I ask you, what if your next big breakthrough isn't in a book, a meeting, or a strategy session, but in your next workout, your next healthy meal, your next deep breath? How much more could you create if your body became your ally instead of your obstacle? Most people wait for the right time to build something great. I didn't. I built Alibaba during what I call the quiet hour, when everyone else was relaxing, watching TV, or scrolling through distractions. That silent space after the world goes to sleep, that's where legacy is born. One consistent hour after hours can become your empire. You don't need capital, you need consistency. You don't need applause, you need self-discipline. In that hour, there were no meetings, no noise, no opinions, just me, my idea, and my determination. And that was enough. You don't need to quit your job to start a dream. You need to manage your time like a visionary. While others sleepwalk through their nights, achievers are laying foundations in silence. That's the hour when personal development meets vision. I always say, don't wait for the big moment. Create small ones that build into something unstoppable. I've seen dreams that started with a laptop on a kitchen table grow into global platforms. 1 hour, every night, one idea, every session. That's how self-improvement turns into financial independence, one invisible brick at a time. You might think, but I'm tired after work. I understand. I was too. But 1 hour of focused effort energizes more than a whole evening of passive rest. That hour becomes a reward, a mission, a whisper from your future self telling you, keep going. And over time, that whisper becomes a roar. So don't underestimate the quiet hour. Use it to write, to build, to learn, to launch. Because 1 year of quiet hours can lead to a lifetime of freedom. And what happens when your future starts knocking? Will you be ready to answer? In the rush to achieve more, it's easy to forget the people who matter most. I've learned that success without connection is a hollow victory. What's the point of building a great business, a strong body, or an incredible idea if you have no one to share it with? I made it a rule. 1 hour a week dedicated to real connection. No phones, no distractions, just presence. That hour gave more meaning to everything I built. In the early days of Alibaba, many thought I was crazy for prioritizing people over profits. But I believe deeply in this. Clients first, employees second, shareholders third. That philosophy wasn't popular in the corporate world, but it worked. When people feel valued, they give their best. And real loyalty doesn't come from paychecks. It comes from emotional intelligence and shared trust. Success isn't just metrics, it's relationships. Take 1 hour to truly listen to a friend. Share a story with your parents. Walk with your partner. These moments may seem small, but they are the soil where resilience grows. When storms hit, and they will, these are the people who hold your hand. Not the ones counting your results, but the ones counting your presence. You don't need grand gestures, just presence, authenticity, eye contact. 1 hour can rebuild a bond, heal a misunderstanding, or deepen a friendship. And that's not time lost, it's energy gained. Because when your heart is full, your work becomes lighter, your creativity grows, your motivation multiplies. Gratitude practices begin with those you love. So if you're chasing goals, don't forget who you're chasing them for. Success built alone can feel like failure in disguise. And what if that 1 hour a week could become the reason everything else in your life feels more complete? When people ask me how I built Alibaba, they expect a secret formula or a lucky break. But the truth is simpler and harder. I built it 1 hour at a time, one focused hour stacked on another, day after day. That's how self-discipline compounds. 1 hour a day becomes 7 a week, 30 a month, and over 300 hours in a year. That's nearly 2 full months of personal development. Quiet, invisible effort that no one sees, but everyone later admires. I always say, transformation isn't loud. It's not posted online. It's what you do when no one is watching. While others waited for motivation, I stacked hours. I used everyone like a brick, building something no one else could see. Over time, those hours became a structure of skills, of mental resilience, of belief. When you stack your hours, you start building a future others will call lucky. You don't need a revolution. You need consistency. Think of what 300 hours could create. A new skill, a new business, a new version of you. Goal setting becomes meaningful when you have the time blocks to execute it. Each hour you dedicate is a vote for your future self, and those votes add up. One of my favorite parts of this journey is looking back and seeing how far I came, quietly, slowly, deliberately. That's the real magic of stacking hours. You won't notice the change at first, but one day you'll look in the mirror and meet a person who did the work, who stayed committed, who didn't give up. And that person will feel unstoppable. So what could you build this year? Not with luck, not with shortcuts, but with 300 silent, focused hours. Because once you start stacking, you stop doubting. And when you stop doubting, you start becoming. People think change happens overnight, like a switch flipping. But real transformation, it's built in silence, 1 hour at a time. Every day, That single hour reshapes your identity, slowly, invisibly, powerfully. As I tell young people everywhere, you don't change your life in one leap. You change it in one consistent, purposeful hour. Self-discipline, positive thinking, self-belief, they're not gifts. They're built, hour by hour. Each time you choose to focus, to learn, to move, to reflect, you're voting for the person you want to become. It may seem small, but each vote counts. Over weeks, over months, you start noticing you're not reacting the same way, you're making better choices, you're building emotional intelligence. That's not just improvement, it's life transformation. I still remember saying to my team in our tiny apartment, if we can succeed starting from nothing, then anyone can. We didn't wait to be ready. We chose to act daily. And if that hour felt too hard, we remembered our future depended on it. Persistence, not perfection, is what shapes destiny. Because the world doesn't reward your potential, it rewards your actions. You may not feel different after the first few hours. That's normal. Change happens in the quiet. But one day, it clicks. Your mind is sharper. Your goals are clearer. Your energy is stronger. That's when you realize you haven't just used your time, you've rewritten who you are. And all it took was 1 hour. Repeated, defended, honored. So don't wait for a miracle, be the miracle. 1 hour of decision, 1 hour of discipline, 1 hour of dreaming. Stack those, and soon you won't just be living differently, you'll be living as someone entirely new.
Oh, and they said it couldn't be done. That to change your life, you needed a big break, a lucky connection, or a major turning point. But in a powerful presentation that captivated millions, Jack Ma, co-founder of Alibaba, shattered that belief. He revealed that transformation isn't about years of waiting. It's about how you use the next 60 minutes. And in this unforgettable message, Jack Ma shared how one focused hour a day can rewrite your destiny. With stories drawn from his own rise, from an English teacher earning $12 a month to building one of the largest tech empires in the world, Jack Ma proved that greatness doesn't begin with opportunity, but with self-discipline and intention. What kept the audience on the edge of their seats wasn't just what he said, it was how deeply it resonated. Because deep down, everyone knows we have more control than we think. In this masterclass of personal development and goal setting, Jack Ma explored the secrets behind his success, protecting your time like treasure, transforming learning into power, and starting each day with unwavering purpose. He emphasized how self-awareness, resilience, and daily growth mindset rituals are the real markers of change, not talent, not luck. One of the most impactful takeaways came when he declared, "You don't change your life in one leap. You change it 1 hour at a time." From mastering the first hour of the day, to building your fortune in the quiet night, to investing in relationships that matter, Jack Ma connected every aspect of life transformation to simple, practical shifts anyone can make, starting today. His tone was warm, his stories real, and his message universal. He reminded us that the future doesn't belong to the privileged. It belongs to those who use their hour. And as he shared, with humor and honesty, the pain of rejection, the loneliness of failure, and the thrill of silent victories, he became more than a billionaire entrepreneur. He became a mirror to our own potential. He also left the audience reflecting on their health, their values, and their relationships. Because what is success if you have no energy to enjoy it, no one to share it with, and no clarity on why you chased it in the first place? This wasn't just about productivity tips, it was about building a life you actually want to live. Jack Ma inspired with examples, metaphors, and direct questions that sparked action. He cited books like Atomic Habits and The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and invited us to stack our hours like bricks, constructing not just a schedule, but a self. He spoke of the body as a tool, the mind as a weapon, and relationships as the real wealth. If you missed this message, This is your second chance. Because once you hear Jack Ma talk about how to turn an hour into a future, you'll never look at time the same way again. So now the question is yours to answer. What will you do with your next hour? Will it be just another scroll, another distraction, another delay? Or will it be the first hour of the rest of your life? Because if one focused hour a day can change the life of Jack Ma, what could it do for you? You've just received a blueprint, 12 powerful strategies to boost your self-discipline, deepen your self-awareness, and elevate your personal development. You've been shown how to guard your time, sharpen your focus, and turn knowledge into real transformation. But none of this matters unless you act. Which part hit you the hardest? Was it the reminder to protect your quiet hour, the push to reflect daily, or the challenge to care for your health like your success depends on it? Because it does? Let us know in the comments. Tell us what you're going to implement today. This isn't just motivation, it's a new operating system for life. And whenever you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or off track, come back to this video. Let it guide you, push you, remind you of the power inside you. Because that power was never gone. It was just waiting to be used. If this message sparked something in you, then don't lose it. Subscribe to this channel right now. Don't risk losing this space of growth. Because if you don't hit that button, you might never find this again. Tap the bell, activate notifications, and stay close to this movement of learning and becoming. And your next step? Watch the next video titled 5 Golden Rules to Change Your Life in 90 Days, Jack Ma Advice, where we go even deeper into unlocking your full potential with insights that will elevate your clarity, confidence, and direction.